Hi everyone. Today we're going to work on Module 7, Cottage Rental Revenue. Open up a fresh worksheet in Excel, and then starting in A1 of your blank worksheet, you're going to type in some column titles. The first one is cottage name, then in B1, weeks rented, C1, weekly rental rate, and then in D1, total rental revenue. And then in column A2, you'll fill in the rest of the cottage names. Then you're going to click into the weeks rented and start typing how many weeks. And do not worry, you're not typing in the middle of the word, you're in its own cell in column B. So you'll type 12, enter, 10, 9, 12, 14, 10, and 10. And if you want to look at column A in the formula bar is the entire name. And the same thing with A3, Swan Haven, Beer Claw Hut. So they're showing all in the formula bar, they just look cut off in the column. Go ahead and put in the weekly rental rate, $8.95. Enter, $8.95, enter, $6.95, $1,095, $6.95, $1,095, and $8.95. So you have them all filled in. So what I would do is all of the column titles are chopped off, and so is part of the items in column A. You could go to the boundary between A and B and double click so it goes as wide as it needs to be to fit column A. Then do the same thing for B and C and D. Or pointing on the column heading with the black arrow, drag across all 4 columns and then just double click anywhere where you have your double arrows for double boundaries, and it widens each one of them to as wide as the longest item in that column. Click on row 1 and click with the arrow so it highlights the entire row 1, and then on the Home tab over in the Cells group, click the top part of Insert once to get an empty row, twice to have 2. In row 1A, you'll type the title, Cottage Rental Revenue Summer Season. And then for row 2, they want to change the row height. Right now, the row height for all of them are the same height, which is 15. You can manually hover between 2 and 3 and drag, and you want to increase it to 30, which is 60 pixels. If you're having trouble stretching it, you can right click, choose row height, and type exactly what you want, 30 and OK. Then we're going to insert a new column. We just inserted new rows. Now we're going to insert a new column. Select right on the column heading B, and it's that same insert button, the top part. If you were to click the bottom part, you would just have to choose Insert Sheet Column. In B3, type cottage type, enter, and the first one is a bungalow. And the next one is also a bungalow, but just type a lowercase b. It'll finish it for you. And then cedar cabin, enter, villa. The next one is cedar cabin, so just a lowercase c. The next one is villa, just a v. And the last one, cedar cabin again. So that'll help you out in the autocomplete. Next, we'll create a formula. So click in E4, and we're going to take the weeks rented multiplied by the weekly rental rate. So all formulas start with equals, and I'll click C4 asterisk, which is multiply, D4. So here in E4 I have my formula, but it also shows up in the formula bar, equals C4 times D4, and then I'll press enter. And I could repeat it over and over again, or if I go back to where my original one is, and you can see the formula, right here you have the answer, but there's the formula. If you ever hover over the fill handle, you can either drag it or just double click. and it fills in each of the rows. So if I started with C4 times D4, looking at the formula bar, when I arrow down, it's C5 times D5, C6 times D6, and so forth. That's called relative cell reference. Then go ahead and click in C11, and we want to have totals. So I'm going to type in A11 total, and then in C10 to get the total, I can click the auto sum, auto sigma formula, and then enter. And it's asking me, do I want a sum of C4 through C10? Perfect. And then I'll do the same thing in E11. We don't need a total for D because those are just different weekly rates. I could use the auto sum feature or the shortcut Alt equals. And again, the formula is equal sum E4 through E10, and press enter. Column D and column E are values, so you should have the accounting format style. So select, starting with D all the way to E, and then just click in the number group, the accounting format style. It gives the dollar signs and the decimal in 2 places. Click C14, the Robin's Nest Villa, and change it from 10 to 14. And once you type in 14, when you press enter, it'll automatically change the total in E9 and also the total in column C and E. It does it automatically because of the formulas already put in there. We need to add one more column, so hover over the E, click so they insert, you select the entire column, and again insert, and this one will be labeled season end date, enter, and then we'll type September, spelling it out completely, space 15, comma, space 2017. When I press enter, even though I typed out the entire name for the month September, it puts it in what's called either military style date or European style. We usually have the month first, then the date. So what we'll do to change that is with it selected, click the down arrow for custom and choose short date. And then it shows it the usual way that we read it, the month, then the day, and then the year. And if I were to use the fill handle, it's going to give me the consecutive days, 16th, 17th, 18th, and so forth. Well, instead of that, we want all September 15th. So you'll click the autofill options, and instead of the fill series, choose copy so that they're all the same date, September 15th. What we'll do now is select columns C through E, select format, and we're going to change the column width to just 10. And I'll show you why in a minute. So we're making it narrower. The reason why we want to do that is if we click into C3, what we want to do is what's called wrap text. You may have to click it twice. Sometimes just once it works. So what it's doing is it's wrapping the length of the column into 2 rows rather than just one. So I'll do the same thing for D3, wrap text, and so forth for E and F. Otherwise, you have it across the entire row, horizontal, or you have it underneath. If you see hashtags, that's fine. All it means is the column is too narrow to show the dollar signs and decimal places, so hover between the F and the G and double click, and it widens it so it can fit everything. Next, what we'll do is center the column titles in row 3, so select A3 to F3, and this is alignment center. Then for the title, instead of it hovering over the left-hand side, we're going to hold and drag to as wide as our worksheet went, which is column F, and choose merge and center. Then we'll click insert and choose header footer. On the left-hand side, type your name, and then choose footer. Choose Go To Footer, up in the header footer design, Go To Footer. And then on the bottom left, you're going to put the file name, and instead of typing it, just click File Name. On the right-hand side, click on the right-hand side, and you want the current date, click Current Date. You don't have to type it. Then click in any cell, and to leave this page layout view, down at the bottom in the status bar, you can go back to normal view. And then Control Home will take you to the top. Next, what you'll do is change the theme. So click Page Layout, and under Themes, choose what's called Wood Type. You may have to hover down to look for Wood Type. It's the last one. Click A1, the title, and on the Home tab, click Cell Styles and choose Title. And then for row 3, the column heading, select all of them, go back into Cell Styles and choose Accent 2, and then select from A4 all the way to F11, go back to Cell Styles and choose Output. Output Cell Style. It's a gray background. Now, if you ever again get those hashtags, just go up into the boundary and double click so it widens it so you can see everything. And we're going to check the preview of this assignment. So click File, Print, and it all fits on one page, even though it's portrait, but it's up at the top of the left of the page. We can drop it down so that it's centered vertically and horizontally across the page. Your name appears at the top in the header, and the footer right now it's just called Book 1, and then on the right hand side is the date. So if you hover down, there's a blue page setup. Go ahead and click that. It shows that we're in portrait orientation versus landscape. Click the tab Margins, and the default margins are a little less than 1 inch. Don't worry about that. Come down to Center on Page and choose both horizontally and vertically and click OK. And it centers it vertically on the page. Go ahead and save and submit. Thank you.